Well, basically I'm grinding out IS, and I have a few things to talk about. Mostly just a few manga I've been extremely interested in, especially one of them very recently. So I'm grinding out IS in the background. If I talk about this. First one is wait a second. Okay, can't adjust it from here. Never mind. First one is Amachin, the self-proclaimed boy. Pretty good manga, to be honest. It's supposed to be somewhat of a comedy hybrid with a bit of a romance, of course, as you'd probably expect. Basically, you get this Amachin on the style of Crocodile. He is obviously a boy despite how he dresses, and nobody really knows because they've never really seen him in such a way. And basically, the entire story basically the story revolves around Amachin, as Hawker mentioned, and his childhood friend Tatsumi, which Amachin obviously has feelings for Tatsumi, but they're kinda Tatsumi doesn't really notice and doesn't really understand it, to be honest. And basically the main conflict comes from the stupid situations they get in and all the other dumb stuff that the school or Amachin's parents end up forgetting about. The other one I've been reading recently is satsujin, which I think I butchered that name, but it is kinda odd. Basically, this guy, he tries to commit game end to himself, and he fails, breaks a hole in his wall, and finds out that his neighbor is a woman, and she is obsessed with murder. So she brings people to her house, mostly men, to murder them whenever possible. And the main character figures out about it and goes, wait a minute, you're a murderer? And basically he's forced to either accept her or become the next victim, which is an interesting thing, but then we later figure out, oh crap, she has a list of the people she kills, which are criminals, and he's somehow on that list. which he doesn't know why, and they basically start a stupid romance story. That's basically all I can really say about both those stories without going too much into spoiler territory. But otherwise, another manga I've read that I've really enjoyed is kinda a manga that wasn't too long ago. Well, quite a long time ago. At the point of me recording this and posting it, it is today's Cerberus or Kyou Cerberus. Basically, about a guy who finds a three-headed dog, of course, being attacked by a whole bunch of kids being terrible people. He saves the dog. Dog's scared, bites him. He figures out years later that his father, if I remember correctly, it's his father or his grandfather, I don't know. I don't remember that well. He figures out that he goes around searching for artifacts, brought back a box with the exact same dog, but turns out that the dog is multiple humans. So he starts a romance with the dogs. Well, not really. The humanoid dog. They take turns in one body trying to figure out why they need to be with him so badly. There is the dumb airhead one, which is the main one, and the first one you really see. There is, which her name is Churro, if I'm correct. Let me just check real quick. It is, so yeah, our boy Chiaki, he wakes up with a few things. So basically, Chiaki, yeah, wakes up a three-headed dog in a box, opens it up. Whoops, here comes our the first Cerberus, Kuro. Then we have the second Cerberus, which is Rose. She's triggered by pulling at the tail of any of the others. She's most well known for having a mask. And then we have Shirogane, who is the third one, which is also the one that's the most competitive and more of a tsundere than most of the others in the story, that is, of all the characters. And basically, he has to live his life with these three dogs to protect his soul, and basically he figures out that they love him, and he starts to fall in love with one of them. And then he has to also juggle that there are monsters after him now, because he is very hollow inside. He got bit as a child from those dogs, and now he has to remember that he has to remember what those dogs did really and figure out why they did it. And it's basically just somewhat of a romance, which is not that bad of an idea. Having three main characters fighting over the main character is an interesting conflict, especially when all three of them are in the same body somewhat. I'd recommend the first and third, mostly because they are not the most graphic, but they're also not that bad. And the second one is probably the one you have to watch out for because it gets really dark. It's just a mess, to say the least. So, those are my 3 stupid recommendations. I doubt anyone will really like any of them besides the third one, because the other 2 are just very, very mature ones, in one way or another. Since Amachin has some very dirty jokes in it as the main comedy, while the other one is basically just, oh, this woman is crazy, laugh. I'd say that would be probably the weirdest one that I've been interested in, since I've been very interested in horror recently. Plus, being a mix of both horror and romance is an odd one. So, otherwise I'm just gonna keep grinding this off camera because it's just very boring to do. Anyway, that's the video. See you guys next time.